The millionaire saw the homeless woman and thought she was just a stranger, just a woman sitting quietly on the sidewalk, holding two small children in worn-out clothes, lost in the bustle of the city. But as he got closer, that face stopped him in his tracks. No one could have guessed the truth was waiting right there on a familiar street. Before we dive into this unexpected story, we'd love to know a little about you. Where in the world are you listening from? And what time of day do you usually tune in? Early morning, midday, or right before bed? Drop a comment below so we can say hi to you in the most personal way. And don't forget to subscribe to support our channel. Now, let's jump into a journey that seemed random, but turned out to be fate for two people who once lost each other. The October rain poured hard, water spilling over the worn-out bricks of a Philadelphia city sidewalk. Liam James, fresh out of a board meeting and head of the state's largest real estate empire, hurried toward the waiting SUV. A small crowd made him slow down. In the rush of people, something pulled at him. On the corner, pressed against the wall, a woman sat holding two small children close under a tattered blanket. A piece of cardboard in front of them had a scrawled message, just trying to keep them warm. Liam was about to keep walking. He'd seen this kind of scene countless times in the city, and he'd given plenty before, but something made him stop this time. He glanced toward the woman. Her long, tangled hair covered most of her face, but those eyes made his heart skip a beat. He stepped closer. The woman flinched, pulling the two kids tighter into her arms. Liam knelt down, his voice low and hoarse. "Maya?" The woman looked up slightly. Her panicked brown eyes met his. Time froze. "Liam," she whispered. His breath caught. Her face was thinner, paler, but he knew her instantly. Maya Bennett, the girl who once meant everything to him. The one who walked away just weeks after he proposed and vanished without a trace. "Oh my God, it's really you?" Liam took half a step back, like he needed to see her again just to believe it. Maya looked down, avoiding his eyes. The two kids, a girl around 4 and a younger boy, curled up beside her, faces smudged with dirt, but their eyes lit up when they looked at him. He took off his coat and draped it over Maya and the kids, then called out to his assistant in the distance. "Jackson, bring the car over. Now." "Liam, don't," Maya whispered, trying to stand but stumbling. I'm fine. It's just temporary." "No, Maya, you're not fine, and I'm not going to stand here and treat you like a stranger." Maya shook her head weakly. "I don't need pity." "It's not pity," Liam said firmly, his voice softening as he looked at the two kids shivering in the cold. "I just can't walk away, not from someone who once meant everything to me." The SUV pulled up. Liam opened the door and turned to her. "Get in, for the kids." Maya looked at her children, then at Liam. Through the sound of rain and honking cars, she nodded, barely hearing her own voice. The warmth of the car's heater slowly filled the space. The two children had fallen asleep, their heads resting on their mother's shoulders. Maya sat in silence, clutching a worn-out fabric bag, her only possession. Liam glanced at the rearview mirror and saw her curled up in the back seat, as if afraid she might dirty the leather. "Hey, you don't have to be so tense," he said gently. "It's just one night at my place. Wherever you want to go tomorrow, I'll take you." Maya didn't answer. The city lights slid across the windows, casting reflections in her tired eyes. As the car turned into the upscale neighborhood on the west side of town, Maya shivered slightly. The glass walls, neatly trimmed trees, and warm lights from inside the homes made her feel out of place. This world was too unfamiliar, too spotless, too calm for someone used to car horns and cold pavement every night. "Liam," she said softly as the car came to a stop. "I can't go in there. No arguing," he cut in, not harshly, just firm. "Just some food, a hot shower, and a decent night's sleep. You owe yourself that. And so do the kids." The door opened. Mrs. Howard, the housekeeper, looked surprised to see Liam walk in with a soaked woman and two drenched kids, but she didn't ask questions. She simply nodded and quietly went to prepare the guest room and two smaller rooms next to it. In the living room, the fireplace crackled softly. Maya sat in an armchair, holding her children close, still clutching her bag. Liam came back with 3 mugs of hot cocoa and placed them gently in front of them. She looked up, eyes filled with emotion she couldn't hide. "Thank you, Liam. Really? Thank you." He gave a small nod, eyes never leaving her face. For a moment, he caught a glimpse of the girl she used to be, the one who once rode on the back of his bike, laughing uncontrollably just because it rained in the middle of summer. The one who scribbled, "Don't fall in love with me," in his notebook because she was scared of getting too attached too soon. Now she was here, worn down, exhausted, but still Maya. Still the woman he once loved. He knew. Tonight was just the beginning. The answers to what happened would come with the morning. Maya couldn't sleep. The guest room set aside for her and the kids was simple but warm. A soft nightlight cast a gentle glow over the bed where Mia and Ellie were fast asleep. She pulled the blanket up over them, then sat by the window, hands clasped tightly together. Each minute passed in silence, except for the steady ticking of the wall clock, like the heartbeat of a memory coming back to life. The next morning, when Maya stepped into the kitchen, Liam was already there, a cup of coffee in hand, eyes scanning a folder. But it was clear he'd been waiting for her. "Morning," he said in a low voice, his gaze calm but attentive. "Morning." Maya froze in the doorway, like she wasn't sure whether to come in or turn around. "You don't have to stand there like you're ready to run," Liam said, setting the cup down, his eyes sincere. "It's just breakfast, no strings attached." Maya gave a small nod and walked to the table. The scent of toasted bread lingered in the air. The two little girls had just come down with Mrs. Howard and were already chattering as they climbed into their seats, like they'd been living there for ages. Maya watched them for a moment, then turned to Liam. "Thank you for everything." "No need to thank me, but if you want to," Liam said, voice steady. "Tell me what happened. I still can't wrap my head around it, how the Maya I knew just disappeared from the world and then showed up like this." Maya was quiet for a moment. She gently brushed her daughter's hair back, like she was drawing strength from the simple act. "Do you remember the last time we saw each other?" Liam nodded slowly. "When I proposed, and you said you weren't ready." "It wasn't because I didn't love you," Maya said, her voice softening. "I was scared I'd mess everything up. I never really believed I deserved someone like you." Liam pressed his lips together, letting her speak. "After that, I left the city, moved to Chicago, took a job at an event planning company, and that's where I met Travis." She said the name lightly, but Liam caught the shift in her expression. He was charming, smart, knew exactly what women wanted to hear. I thought I was in love," Maya said quietly. "Travis is the father of the girls?" Liam asked, eyes fixed on her. She nodded. "When I got pregnant, Travis was happy, or at least he pretended to be. But after Mia and Ellie were born, he changed. He stopped holding them, stopped caring about me. He started controlling everything, our bank account, my friends, my phone, even when I was allowed to leave the house." Her voice trembled. "I didn't dare tell anyone. No one would have believed me. To everyone else, Travis was the perfect man, successful lawyer, polite, respected." Under the table, Liam clenched his hand into a fist, forcing himself not to show how angry he was. "Then one day," Maya went on, eyes dropping to the glass of milk in front of her, "he told me to get out. No warning. Just rage out of nowhere. I only had time to grab a few clothes for the girls and walk out the door. No money, nowhere to go." "What about your family?" Liam asked gently. "My parents passed away. I only have an aunt, but she's in another state and she's been sick. We haven't talked in years," Maya said with a bitter smile. "Travis knew that. He knew I had no one." Liam exhaled slowly. "How long have you been living like this?" "Almost a year." Maya closed her eyes like she hated saying it out loud. "At first I picked up some jobs, cleaning, temp work, but when no one wanted to hire a woman with 2 kids in tow, I had no choice but to beg." "This is," Liam started, but Maya cut him off. "I'm not telling you this so you'll feel sorry for me. You asked, and maybe it's just time I stopped hiding." Liam nodded. "I get it, and it's not pity. It's just, I hate that I wasn't there when you needed someone." Maya looked at him. Her eyes were still tired, still sad, but softer now. "You used to be the person I was most afraid of seeing me fail. But now, you're the first one to give me and my kids a real place to sleep after nearly 300 nights on the street." Liam didn't say anything, but inside, something stirred. This wasn't just about kindness anymore. It wasn't just a sense of duty to the past. It was a feeling he had never really let go of. Something real, still alive in his chest. Maya stood up, ready to leave as she noticed the girls had finished eating. Liam called out after her. Maya. She stopped. If you want to stay longer than just one night, the door's always open. Maya turned to look at him. She didn't answer. But in her eyes, for the first time since they met again, there was a flicker of something. Not hope exactly, but possibility. The possibility that something, no matter how small, could start again. Maya didn't say a word, but she didn't leave. She stayed one more night, then another, and neither of them said it out loud, but her presence, and the presence of her two little girls, slowly became part of the quiet rhythm of the penthouse tucked in the heart of Philadelphia. 3 days later, with the early autumn sunlight pouring into the living room, Maya walked into the kitchen and saw Liam focused on making coffee. He looked as put together as always, white shirt, sleeves neatly rolled up, but his eyes didn't carry the same guarded chill she remembered from the man he used to be. "Did you sleep okay?" Liam asked when he saw her. "More or less," she replied, still not quite able to meet his eyes. Mia and Ellie had grown so used to their new surroundings that every morning they woke up and darted around the room like they'd never known tarp-covered sidewalks or shivering nights on cold park benches. Maya watched them, a part of her heart easing, but another part growing heavier. She couldn't let herself rely on this. She couldn't afford to get used to feeling safe. So after breakfast, while Liam was adjusting the watch on his wrist, Maya took a deep breath and spoke. "You don't have to keep doing this, Liam. I'll be leaving soon. I've already imposed too much." Liam looked up. His eyes didn't show surprise, only a calm quiet, like he'd expected it. "Where would you go?" "I don't know yet," she said, avoiding his gaze. "I'll find a temporary place, then look for work. Maybe a grocery store or a diner. I used to wait tables a few years back." Liam nodded, then rested his hand on the edge of the counter. "What if you had another option?" Liam asked. "Not because I feel sorry for you, but because I believe you deserve more than this." Maya frowned. "What kind of option?" "Before you disappeared, you told me you wanted to study design. Do you remember that?" She let out a soft laugh. "You still remember that?" "I do," Liam said, "and I think it's time you did something about it." Maya froze. "What are you saying?" "I know someone, a friend who runs a short-term interior design program at a private institute. Flexible schedule. They offer tuition support if needed. If you want it, I'll take care of the rest." "No." Maya shook her head almost instantly. "Liam, no, I can't take more from you." "Why not?" he asked calmly. "You're raising 2 kids. You don't have a home, no job. All I'm offering is a path, one that might lead you out of everything you're carrying right now." Maya stayed quiet. She looked down at her hands, thin fingers, skin rough and cracked from months without care. "I don't want to live off someone else," she said softly. "I'm scared that if everything disappears again, I'll be left with nothing. No skills, no safety net, no trust. I've been there before." Liam stepped closer. "This isn't living off someone. This is starting over. And if you need someone to believe in you, let that be me." His voice was low but steady. In those deep blue eyes, there was no pity. Only a quiet, unwavering belief. "You're doing all this because I was your ex?" Maya asked, unable to hide the doubt in her voice. Liam smiled, gently but genuinely. "No, I'm doing this because you've never stopped mattering to me, no matter what we were, and because Mia and Ellie, they deserve a chance. And so do you." Maya turned away. She was afraid that if she looked at him any longer, the tears building behind her eyes would fall. She wasn't ready to believe in anything yet, but those words, they had started to slip through the walls she'd spent years building. That day, Liam took Maya and the girls out to buy a few essentials. Nothing extravagant, just new clothes for the kids, some groceries for the week, and a simple outfit for Maya. "So you have something to wear if you decide to study or work soon," he said. "No pressure, no promises." That night, after she'd tucked the girls into bed, Maya stepped into the living room and saw Liam reading by the window. She hesitated for a moment, then walked over. "Thank you," she said, her voice low but sincere. "Not just for giving us a place to stay, but for not looking at me like I'm a failure." Liam closed the book and looked up. "You're not a failure. You're just in the middle of a hard chapter. But this chapter, it won't last forever, unless you let it." Maya didn't reply, but in her eyes, for the first time, something softened. Like water settling after wind, a flicker of peace. And Liam knew maybe love wouldn't come back the same way. But between them, something new had started to take shape. A trust, a chance, something more than just kindness. Maya started her morning by opening the window. Cool air swept into the small room, and the early sunlight filtered through the sheer curtains, casting soft streaks of light across the wooden floor. Mia and Ellie were still asleep, curled up under the blankets like two little kittens. Maya watched them for a long moment, then quietly stepped out. The living room was quiet, filled only with the sound of water running in the kitchen. Liam was rinsing out a mug, sleeves rolled up, hair slightly tousled from sleep. He turned when he saw her. "You're up early. I'm used to it. These past years, deep sleep's been a luxury." Liam gave a small nod, placed the last cup on the rack, then pulled out a chair and motioned for her to sit. "I was just about to make some coffee. Want a cup?" Maya hesitated for a moment, then nodded. They sat across from each other, wrapped in a silence that felt almost intimate. Maya looked at him, then blurted out, "Do you ever get tired of being the good guy all the time?" Liam gave a quiet laugh, but his eyes stayed steady. "I'm not always good. I just do what feels right. And with you, what's right is not walking away. It's giving you a choice." "I'm scared I don't deserve those choices," Maya admitted. "No matter what you say, I still feel like I wasted so much of my life. And I hurt people who once cared about me. People like you." "Maybe you did mess up," Liam said, his voice low and steady. "But mistakes don't mean you can't make things right. And I'm not perfect either. I was angry with you for years. I thought you were a coward for leaving. But now, I feel lucky just to have this chance to talk to you again." Maya didn't respond, but inside her, something began to shift, just slightly, from where it had been stuck for so long. The following week, Maya officially enrolled in a part-time interior design course. She didn't tell Liam until the confirmation letter came through. That evening, as she sat at the dinner table with Mia and Ellie, she placed the paper in front of him, her voice trembling just a bit. "I signed up." Liam looked at the letter, then at her. He didn't say anything right away, but the smile that tugged at the corner of his mouth made something warm flicker in her chest, like someone had quietly turned on a light in the middle of winter. "I knew you would," he said simply. "You just need to believe in yourself the way I believe in you." Maya didn't say a word, but for the first time, her hands didn't shake as she spooned porridge into Ellie's mouth. Going back to school after nearly a decade wasn't easy. Maya struggled with design software, felt out of place during group projects, and lost sleep over essays. But strangely, she felt alive, like herself again. Liam quietly handled everything else. He hired a young tutor to help Maya a few evenings a week so she wouldn't fall behind. He picked up Mia and Ellie when her schedule clashed, and sometimes just waited outside her class, patient and steady. One evening, Maya came home late, tired, irritable, worn out. She walked in to find Liam and the girls coloring in the living room. Ellie saw her and squealed, "Mommy, Uncle Liam made the elephant purple." Maya laughed for the first time all day. She dropped down beside them, leaning back against the couch. Liam glanced over and asked gently, "Rough day?" "Almost as hard as believing I deserve to be happy," she said, not even thinking about it. The words made Liam pause. But a few seconds later, he said quietly, "Then let me help you believe it." And just like that, life began to reshape itself. Maya still kept a bit of distance, but the space between her and Liam slowly filled with quiet, ordinary things. A shared breakfast, a glance exchanged when one of the kids did something adorable, a comfortable silence after a long day. But then, one Saturday morning, while organizing some papers, Maya found a small box in a drawer Liam had once forgotten to close. Inside was an old silver ring, slightly scratched. Alongside it, a faded photo, her and Liam, laughing wide and carefree at their college graduation festival. She shut the box quickly, heart pounding. That afternoon, she asked quietly, "You kept the old ring?" Liam looked at her, not dodging the question. "I didn't throw it away. I thought, maybe one day, you'd want to see it again." Maya turned her face away, her voice trembling. "I don't know what hurts more, that you're still holding on, or that I'm not sure I can give it back." "I'm not asking you to give anything back," Liam said quietly. "I kept it because that memory was never something I wanted to let go of." That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She knew something inside her was shifting, not just gratitude, not just comfort, but an old emotion, something buried deep, like a seed that had been lying dormant underground and was now slowly touching sunlight again after years in the dark. But with it came fear. What if she hurt him again? What if this was just a fragile moment, a brief warmth sparked by pain and shared history, not something real, not something lasting? She turned to look at her daughters, sleeping soundly beside her. She knew she couldn't take risks. Not now. Not when there were two small hearts depending on hers to stay steady. And at that same moment, in the room next door, Liam sat staring at the old photo. He knew she'd found the box. He knew she was asking herself the questions he'd been carrying for years. And Liam knew, no matter how far they'd come, the distance left between them wasn't about time or the past. It was trust, and the bridge to cross it couldn't be built by him alone. The weather had started to turn. The first winter winds slipped through window frames as Maya gently pulled her sweater tighter around her shoulders while picking up the girls from their weekend activity. Liam had been in meetings since early morning, so she handled pickup on her own. Things were beginning to settle. Her class schedule, the girls' bedtime routine, even the kind of quiet, steady rhythm she hadn't known in years. But peace is always fragile. As she guided the girls into the elevator, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Unknown number. She hesitated for a second, then answered. Maya Bennett? A man's voice, sharp, cold, too familiar. Who is this? It's Travis. We need to talk. Her chest tightened. It was like someone had dragged every memory back to the surface in an instant. She turned to glance at her daughters, Mia busy with a stuffed animal, Ellie yawning, eyes heavy with sleep. Maya stepped to the side, shielding the sound of the call from their ears. What do you want? Her voice dropped, flat and tense. I hear you're living in Liam James' penthouse. That was fast, Travis replied. You're tracking me? She snapped, a chill running down her spine. I don't need to. Word travels fast in the real estate world, especially when someone decides to pick up an old flame. He gave a dry laugh. You know how this works, Maya. You still don't have full legal custody. If I wanted to, don't. She cut him off, forcing her voice to stay steady. Don't use the kids as leverage again. I'm just stating facts. I want to meet. Tomorrow, just you. Then he hung up. Maya stood frozen, her fingers icy cold even though the phone was still in her hand. She didn't tell Liam, not because she didn't trust him, but because this was her fight. A fight she had to face on her own, even if every part of her wanted to leave it buried forever. The next day, Maya left the girls with Mrs. Howard and headed out. The cafe Travis had chosen was an old spot on the outskirts of the city, once their regular meeting place when they'd first fallen in love. She arrived 10 minutes early, but Travis was already there, dressed in a sharp black suit and red tie, looking polished and untouched by time. He looked at her with a thin, emotionless smile. Still beautiful, though a bit worn down. Maya didn't respond. She sat down, keeping her distance. Say what you came to say. What do you want? Straight to the point, huh? Travis raised an eyebrow. I just want to understand what made you think you could walk away from the life I provided, take my kids, and live off another man. You call being isolated, controlled, and thrown out of my home providing? Maya gave a bitter laugh. Travis shrugged. Pick one, Maya. Either hand the kids back, or I'll take it to court. The law's still on my side, unless... Unless what? Unless you agree to sign away your custody rights. In return, I'll offer you monthly financial support. She froze. You're trying to buy your conscience? No, Travis said calmly. I'm buying my freedom. Maya shot to her feet, her whole body trembling. Freedom? You were never the one trapped. I was the one stuck, locked in silence and fear for years. And you just walked out the door and forgot you ever had a family. Travis stood too, a flicker of anger flashing in his eyes. Who do you think you are? Some washed-up mother your ex decided to rescue. Liam's gonna get tired of you, Maya. And when he does, you'll wish you had signed that paper. She said nothing. She just looked at him, really looked, and realized the man she once loved, once trusted, was gone. All that remained was a ghost, a decaying remnant of a past she had dragged behind her for far too long. She turned away. Not another word, and she walked out. When Maya came home, she didn't cry. She just stayed quiet. Mia and Ellie ran up and wrapped around her legs like they always did, excitedly sharing stories about their drawing class and the cookies they ate. Maya patted their heads, smiling gently. But inside, a storm was rising. That night, when Liam walked into the kitchen looking for a glass of water, he found Maya standing there, holding a thin envelope. "What's going on?" he asked, his eyes narrowing with concern. She set the envelope on the table. "Travis wants to sue me. He's trying to take the girls." Liam didn't respond right away. He opened the envelope. Inside was a draft agreement, cold language, numbers, terms, a price tag on 2 little lives. He looked up. "He actually thinks you'd sign this?" "No, but he knows how to remind me that he can still destroy anything I try to build." Liam slowly folded the paper, slid it back into the envelope, and said quietly, "No one is taking your kids from you. No one." Maya looked at him, her voice rasping with emotion. "I can't let them grow up afraid anymore. If I have to go to court, I will. I'll tell everything." "You're not doing this alone," Liam said, gently squeezing her hand. "I'll handle the legal side, and if he tries to take one more step, he'll learn what it means to cross a line." Maya let out a laugh, a small, tired sound. But for the first time in months, maybe years, she felt what it was to have someone truly standing beside her. Not out of pity, not because of some old debt, but because they were walking in the same direction now. That night, after Liam had gone back to his room, Maya opened the drawer and took out the small box with the old ring inside. She didn't put it on. She simply placed it on the table next to a blank sheet of paper. And for the first time in a very long time, she began to write. "My name is Maya Bennett, and this is the story I will never let anyone else write for me again." Maya set the pen down, her hands still trembling slightly. On the once blank page were messy, uneven lines, but they were hers. The first time she had written about herself without fear. No hiding, no need to explain or justify, just the simple act of letting go. Outside the window, the city glowed. The high-rise apartment stayed wrapped in its usual quiet warmth. Mia and Ellie were sound asleep. Liam hadn't come home yet, caught in another long meeting. Maya glanced at the small clock on the table, then stood up, folded the page carefully, and placed it beside the old silver ring in its box. The next day, Liam returned around noon. He stepped into the living room, removed his coat, and immediately saw the box sitting neatly on the coffee table. For the first time in years, it wasn't there because he had kept it. It was there because she had chosen to leave it for him. He opened it. The folded paper lay inside, just a few lines written, but each word spoke louder than 100 conversations ever could. Liam smiled softly. He didn't rush to say anything. He just walked into the kitchen and started making lunch. Maya walked in just as Liam was setting the table. She paused, unsure if he'd read it yet, but when Liam looked up, the calm in his eyes said everything. It was more honest than any smile. "Thank you," he said, as if that alone was all that needed to be said. "For what?" Maya asked softly. "For writing it. For not hiding. For letting me see you, really see you." She lowered her gaze. She felt exposed, vulnerable, and strangely lighter than she had in years. "I thought a lot last night," she said, fingers absently smoothing the hem of her shirt. "About the people I pushed out of my life. You were one of them, and yet you stayed. You waited." Liam tilted his head slightly. "Honestly, I don't know if I was waiting. I think I just never stopped believing in you." Maya looked up and for the first time met his eyes without flinching. In them she saw something she hadn't felt in years. Patience that asked for nothing, kindness that came with no terms. "I don't know if I can love again," she said. "Not because I don't want to, but because I'm not sure there's enough of me left to give." Liam nodded. "I'm not asking you to give anything. I just want to be here, whenever you're ready, whether that's a day, a month, or a few years." His voice was steady, without pressure. Maya let out a soft laugh. "You don't think that's foolish?" "No, I think it's the only thing worth being patient for." In the weeks that followed, Maya began to change. It wasn't through grand gestures or sweeping promises that Maya began to change. It was in the little things. Making coffee for both of them in the morning, folding laundry with Liam instead of separating the chores, sitting a little closer when they watched movies with the kids. She stopped pulling away when emotions crept in. One evening, Ellie came down with a slight fever. Maya panicked, rummaging through the medicine cabinet, hands trembling as she checked the thermometer. Liam stepped out of his room, saw the scene, and walked over, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "I've got her," can you grab some warm water? Just one sentence. But Maya froze for a second, not because of the words, but because of how he said them. No instructions, no taking over, just quietly stepping in like they had always been a team. After Ellie finally drifted back to sleep, Maya stood at the doorway to her daughter's room for a long while. Out on the balcony, Liam sat quietly, the soft light casting a warm glow over his face. She walked over quietly. "Thank you. I don't think I could have kept it together if you hadn't been there." Liam turned to her. "You don't have to keep it together on your own anymore. I'm here." Maya smiled softly. Then, for the first time, she sat down beside him, without leaving space between them. "What would you think if I said I want to try again?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Try again?" Liam tilted his head, eyes never leaving hers. "Not starting from love," she said. "Starting from trust, from accepting that I don't have to carry everything alone anymore." Liam didn't answer right away. Instead, he gently took her hand, held it just firmly enough to let her know no more words were needed. That night, in the bedroom, Maya watched her two daughters sleeping soundly and wondered why it had taken her so long to believe that happiness was something you could deserve. Not a reward, not a condition, but a choice. She turned and saw Liam still awake, reading under the soft glow of the bedside lamp. "Liam?" she whispered. "Yeah?" He looked up. "Tomorrow, would you take the three of us for a walk? Just a simple afternoon." He smiled, gently closing his book. "I'd love to." And in that moment, Maya understood. Starting over isn't a single moment. It's a string of small choices made again and again until trust grows strong enough to hold love once more. Sunday afternoon brought a gentle chill, the sun filtering through the trees like warm honey. Westwood Park, usually bustling, felt unusually calm, like the world had decided to slow down for a while. Liam walked beside Ellie, who clutched a brand new stuffed bunny, while Maya held Mia's hand, though Mia kept tugging toward the brightly colored ice cream cart near the grass. "Mommy, can we have ice cream, please?" Mia begged, eyes shining. Maya laughed and glanced at Liam. "What do you think? Should we break the no snacks before dinner rule?" Liam shrugged, playing serious. "We're in the park, it's a beautiful day, and we have two very adorable girls. I think the rule can be temporarily suspended." Maya shook her head with a soft smile. "You always spoil them." "It's not spoiling," he said. "It's prioritizing the right people." His words floated in the air, light as the breeze, but something in them made Maya turn toward him and really look. There was something in Liam's eyes, not loud, not demanding, but unmistakably waiting for something just beyond the line between ordinary and everything else. The afternoon stretched on longer than usual. After the ice cream, the four of them laid out a blanket on the grass. Maya leaned back against a tree trunk while Liam lay on his side, reading a story to the girls as they doodled across a coloring notebook. No one spoke much, but all of them felt it. This was the kind of happiness that usually only exists in quiet dreams. As the sunlight began to fade from the grass, Mia and Ellie, worn out from the day, drifted off to sleep against their mother's shoulders. Maya gently patted their backs, whispering soft lullabies in rhythm. Liam took off his jacket and laid it over the girls, then sat down beside her. "They really love you," he said softly. "I think that's the clearest proof you're doing something right." "You always make me feel like I'm not as broken as I think I am," Maya murmured. "Because you're not broken," Liam said, his voice calm but steady. "You're strong, kind, resilient, and you're an incredible mother." Maya gave a soft laugh, eyes still on her sleeping daughters. "You're too good to be real, Liam. I'm scared that if I believe this, then one day it'll all disappear again." "I'm not going anywhere," Liam said, more clearly this time. "I've been here, I am here, and I'll stay if you let me." Maya turned to him. His eyes were serious, not intense, not demanding, just true. "You're about to say something, aren't you?" she asked, though she already knew. "I am," Liam nodded, gaze steady. "I think I've held this in long enough. I don't know when it started again, but I know this, Maya, I love you. Not because of the past, not because of the girls, but because of you, the you who's here right now, with the scars, the doubt, and all." Maya held her breath. She thought she was ready. But no one's ever fully ready for real love, especially when it comes from the one you thought you'd lost forever. "You don't have to say anything back," Liam continued, his voice softer now. "I just want you to know So that if one day you're ready, if you trust again, if you feel steady, I'll still be here." Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then softly, unexpectedly, she spoke. "I don't think you should wait." Liam froze. "You mean?" "I don't think you should wait," Maya repeated, turning to him, eyes steady. "Because you've already waited long enough. And me, I'm tired of pretending I don't feel what my heart has known for a long time." The breeze passed gently through the trees, so quiet it seemed like nothing had changed, but inside both of them, everything had. "So, would that count as an answer?" Liam asked, half joking, like he couldn't quite believe he'd heard her right. "No," Maya said, shaking her head, a gentle smile forming. "That's not an answer. That's a beginning." On the drive home, Mia and Ellie remained fast asleep. Maya sat in the back, holding them close, while Liam drove, the quiet smile on his face refusing to fade. As they turned into the apartment complex, Maya spoke softly. "I'm not making any promises, but I'm willing to take small steps if you're willing to take them with me." Liam nodded. "One step, then another, as long as we're walking together." Maya nodded too, her eyes free of fear now. For the first time in years, they weren't standing on opposite ends of an old story. They were beginning a new chapter, and this time, no one was walking alone. One early spring morning, sunlight filtered gently through the large kitchen window. The smell of fresh-baked pastries filled the apartment, blending with the giggles of two children racing around the breakfast table. Mia wore a pink apron, waving a wooden spoon like she was head chef. Ellie peeked from behind a chair, half hiding, half watching her mom and Liam with curiosity. At the counter, Maya turned from the oven, smiling as she called out, "Mia, if you stir any harder, we're going to have flour on the ceiling." "I'm stirring just right, Mommy," Mia replied confidently, making Liam laugh out loud. He poured another cup of coffee, then stepped over to help Maya plate the pastries. Every move he made in the kitchen now felt second nature. Not like a guest, but like someone who belonged. Like he'd been part of this home for a long time. After breakfast, the whole family headed out to the small backyard of their new house, the one they'd moved into just weeks ago. No more cold penthouse. No more temporary shelter. This was their home. Chosen together, planned together, packed box by box, memory by memory. Maya sat on a wooden chair, watching as Liam walked hand in hand with the girls, helping them water the garden. Ellie splashed water with her tiny hands, giggling so loud it echoed through the yard. Mia, ever the serious one, was explaining to Liam how to plant flowers like they do in cartoons. He nodded with exaggerated focus, but his eyes were full of warmth. And in that moment, Maya knew. She had done the hardest thing of all. She had stayed. She had trusted. And together, they had built something real. A year ago, if someone had told Maya she'd have a morning like this, peaceful, whole, and quietly joyful, she probably would have laughed or cried, because back then, she didn't believe she could ever step out of the dark. But the real miracle wasn't that everything changed. It was that she was brave enough to let it. That weekend, Maya officially graduated from her interior design program. She didn't throw a big celebration, just a simple evening in the backyard, with string lights swaying above, the smell of hot pizza, and soft jazz humming from a Bluetooth speaker. Liam had made a small cake, not the prettiest, but clearly made with love. Across the top, in slightly uneven icing, it read, "We're proud of you, Mommy." When Maya saw it, she burst out laughing, then wrapped all three of them in a hug that said more than words ever could. Because sometimes, happiness isn't found in the grand things. It's in the quiet moments that remind you you belong. You're loved. You're home. A few months later, they took a summer trip to the southern coast. Liam had booked the beachfront cabin weeks in advance. He'd said, "The kids deserve childhood memories that aren't just high-rises and city parks." Maya remembered that one particular afternoon vividly, all four of them sitting on the sand, watching the sunset turn the sea a deep shade of violet. Mia had leaned in and whispered, "I wish every day could be like today." And Maya had replied, "You know what? Every day can be, if we take care of it." One crisp autumn evening, after the girls had gone to bed, Liam found Maya writing in her notebook, the same one she used for both work sketches and private thoughts. He sat beside her without saying anything, just watching her in the soft light. Maya looked up, tilting her head slightly. "You were about to ask something, weren't you?" Liam smiled. I was just thinking, maybe it's time we picked a date. She froze for a beat. A date for what? The day people start calling you my wife, officially. She looked at him, no surprise, no hesitation. Just a soft smile and a quiet nod. Yeah, we should pick a day. They had a small wedding in the backyard, white ribbons hanging between the trees, wooden chairs set in a wide arc, and only the people who mattered most, sitting close enough to feel like part of something real. Mia and Ellie were the flower girls, glowing in simple white dresses like two little angels. Liam stood at the end of the aisle in a plain but tailored suit, eyes never leaving Maya from the moment she stepped out. No one cried. There were only smiles and emotions that rose like the tide, but gently, quietly, without crashing. Do you regret it? Maya whispered as they stood facing each other. Taking me and the girls into your life? Liam smiled, took her hand in his. No, because I didn't just take you in, I found my family. A family. Not perfect, not a fairy tale, but real. Built on love that had once been shattered. Then mended with trust, with forgiveness, and the simplest, most ordinary days. They didn't start from the beginning. They started again, together. There are people we meet once and simply pass by, and then there are those, no matter how far we drift, who find their way back to us. Right time, right person, right place. If you believe in second chances, share this story. And tell us, have you ever met someone like Liam? We'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss more inspiring love stories from Love Stories. Thank you for listening and for believing that happiness is still real. Always.